Yo, man, what is the dealio? Listen, in this video, you already know I got a straight banger for you, all right? It is a beautiful day, man. It's a beautiful day to learn, get better, all right? So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to choose stocks to trade, okay? What to think about, and also how to find stocks to trade, all right? Now, when you are looking at the stock market, it's easy to think like, oh, this stock is at this price and it's gonna go down, so I'm gonna just get into it, right? And I'm talking about stock options. I'm not talking about buying shares and selling shares. I'm talking about stock options, right? So there are some very important things you want to think about when you are thinking about what stocks to trade. You got delta, theta, and stuff like that, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on something a little bit different, okay? I have a lot of videos about contracts specific, a whole bunch of other videos, so be sure to go check out those videos. I've done a lot of lives on them as well. All right, but we're going to get into it. Before I get into it, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, I really appreciate it. And everything I say in this video is not financial advice. All right, so be sure to do your own research and do your own diligence as you get into this stuff. Okay. So with that being said, man, stocks, right, to trade. First things first, I want you to look at your account size, right? I want you to look at your account size. If you got $1,000 in there, you do not need to be trading a stock with that has a premium, an option contract that's worth $800, right? Because that's over 50% of your account value. So first things first, you do not want to be out here like, yo, I'm going to get into a contract and I'm using 80% of my value, right? So you want to think about your account size, right? And then the next thing, and this is what people don't think about, is it a day trade or is it a swing trade, okay? Here's why. This is why this is important. Because, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but you got something called spreads, okay? You got something called spreads. Now, you want to ask yourself, what type of move am I expecting from this trade? Is it a scalp trade? Am I getting in and out in 20 seconds? Am I just looking for a 50-cent move? Or am I looking for a $10 move on this stock? Okay? Now, you want to think about these things. So day trade or swing trade. Day trade, scalp trade, or swing trade. All right? Scalp trade is a couple minutes, maybe 10 minutes or less, right? You may even say 20 to 30 minutes. A day trade is like 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Or the whole day. And then a swing trade is overnight or 2 days or 5 days, whatever the case is, right? So I want you to think about these things, right? How long do I plan on holding it? And also, what is my expected move of this stock? Now, the bigger the move, the little bit more you may be able to sacrifice on certain spreads. And I'm going to show you guys some examples on the laptop about spreads, okay? So if you are doing day trades / scalp trades, you want to have tight spreads. I want you guys to understand this because you could get duped, right? You could get duped. And then you want to make sure if it's a swing trade that the stock, the spreads aren't like $3 and stuff like that, right? Because even if you're expecting a big move, you may not make a good amount of money. All right. And then those are the three main things right there. And then when we're talking about finding stocks to trade, right? I just told you things to think about and keep in mind. But then finding the stocks to trade. Two ways I'm gonna give you guys is you could look at sectors, okay? So sectors, you got the semiconductor space, Nvidia, Micron, Taiwan Semiconductors, SMH, which is a semiconductor ETF. What else? You got AVGO, which is Broadcom, right? Those are all in the same sector, okay? So you may say, I want to trade this sector, and let me look at the stocks in this sector, or the tech, right? Communications, consumer, right? You could look at different sectors, and I'm going to show you guys how to look at those sectors in a minute. Or something that I've done is I went to the S&P 500 list and I went through all the stocks inside the S&P 500, right? And what I did was I'll show you. I found two stocks. It was Ulta and it was Workday, and I was able to trade those stocks, and then boom, right? I was able to make some money on these stocks, and all I did was I looked through the S&P 500 list, and then I found Ulta and I found Workday. I liked their setups, and then I traded those setups. All right, but I didn't like Ulta's spreads, and that's why I ended up getting out earlier. And I actually should have made more money on this play, but the spreads were a little bit wider, and the way it was moving, it wasn't a lot of liquidity in there. Okay, so that's something that that's why I got out a little bit earlier, because I was like, it's not worth it to trade, because I should have made more money based on the move that was made. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the laptop, and I'm gonna show you guys some things about the spreads and about how to find stocks in different sectors and stuff like that. All right, so we're going to get into it right here. Okay, so be patient with me. All right, so we got Trading View right here. So let's go to Webull. All right, let's go to Webull. So when I'm talking about the spreads, right, I want you to look at all of these stocks right here. Okay, now you may say, this is the watch list. You may say, yeah, I want to trade Netflix, right? Netflix is not bad to day trade, but let's say, okay, perfect. You may say, I want to trade Lockheed Martin. Okay. Now, if you think that Lockheed Martin is going up, now look at the bid price, 520, and the ask price, 720. That's a $2 spread right there. Okay. So you may enter into this trade, and your average price may be $6, right? Your average price may be $6, but the stock may be trading at 540. Okay, so you could be down $60 immediately, right? Or you could get filled at the price of $7, right? $7, and the price may be trading at $6, which means that you down $100 already, right when you enter into the trade. Okay, so you want to be careful of what you're day trading versus what you're swing trading. Now, let's go to Lockheed Martin's chart real quick. Okay, let's go to their chart real quick. Let's go to LMT. Okay, so on a day trade, so they came from 481 down to 477. They came back up, right? So on a day trade, let's say you entered into where is it at? Let's say you entered into this contract right here, right? And you got filled at 700, right? On a day trade. And so you're down right here, let's say $100. So if the stock comes up here, you may only be up $50 because you was already down $100, and the stock had to come up just for you to be at break even, right? Because the spreads were so wide, right? So that's how I see it, and that's how I view it. But let's look at a swing trade. If we go to Lockheed Martin on a swing trade, okay, this is the daily time frame on Lockheed Martin. It's not loading right now. Let's see. All right, there we go. This is let's go to the daily time frame. All right, this is the daily time frame, right? So now let's say you like, okay, I want to trade Lockheed Martin, and let's say the stock is at no, this is MU. Why is it doing that? My bad, y'all. All right, so let's say the stock is at right here, right? And you like, okay, the stock right now is at 476, and I think that the stock is gonna go up to $500. Okay, so that is a $24 move, right? That's a $24 move. So let's say you get the contracts at $7, right? Which is 700, right? 7 points. 7. All right, boom. So let's say you get them at 7, right? And because you have a $24 move that you're expecting, $24 move expected on a swing trade, right? And it does come up to $500, right? Your contract is going to be super in the money. So now let's say that this same contract, the 482.50 strike price, is at let's say it's now worth a $25 move. Let's say it's now worth $220, right? Let's say it's worth 20. So now you got this contract and it's now worth 20. That means that this same contract is worth $22,000. So that's a $1,300 difference per contract, right? But because you swung trade and the move was bigger, you were able to absorb these wide spreads, right? You were able to absorb these wide spreads right here, okay? Now on the flip side, let's say I want to trade, where's it at? One of my favorite stocks, Hood. On the flip side, let's say I want to trade Hood. Now on any given day, the spreads are usually within a couple cents to maybe 5 cents, right? This is 10 cents, but it's only because it's like the weekend. But when the stock market opens up, these spreads will tighten up most likely, right? So if I trade this stock, the spreads are tighter, which means that it's a better stock for me to scalp trade and swing and day trade and swing trade, right? I want you to understand that the more volume that's coming in is supply and demand. The more people that are trading a stock, the more likely that the spreads are going to be tighter because there's more people playing the game, right? So think about that. Now, when you when you're trading, scalping, you want to have tighter spreads. Unless you're expecting a bigger move, otherwise you will get played. You will get played by the stock or by the market. Okay, so that's what I'm saying about spreads and the premiums, right? These are next week's expiration dates now, but when the market opens on Monday, this price will probably drop a little bit, and then we'll probably be in the 200s, right? And then on Fridays, these are going to be worth like less than $100, right? Now, let's go to how to find stocks to trade, okay? Now, if we go to FinViz right here, I was talking about sectors, right? This is how you can find sectors. So you got tech sector. So you can go in the tech sector and then you can look at all the tech stocks, right? So look at all the tech stocks right here. We got Microsoft, Oracle, Palantir, PanW, Crowd, right? SMPS, GGY. So you could go inside of this sector and you can trade this sector. We got semiconductors. This is the semiconductor space, right? AMD, TXN, QCOM, AVGO, NVIDIA, right? MU, right? Semiconductor space. If you want to trade financial stocks, financial sector, right? So you can go in here and then you can say, okay, consumer electrics, software applications. So if you're like, okay, I want to trade semiconductors. So semiconductors, and then you go to the charts and you say, okay, NVIDIA, AVGO. Let me go to NVIDIA and let me start to look at the chart, right? And then see what's going on the daily time frame. And then let me go here and let me go to NVIDIA and see what their contracts are looking like, right? So you go to NVIDIA right here and you see what their contracts are looking like. Okay, so decently priced, maybe have a setup here so you can go trade that stock, right? So you go to FinViz and you check that out. Now, another one that you can do is, this is what I did, is, hey, we go to S&P 500 and look at all the stocks that's inside of here, right? All the stocks that's inside of here, right? And then you could just like go, so NRG, NCLH, right? So we could say, okay, Norwegian Cruise Lines, okay? Holding, so NCLH. So go here and then type in, boom, right? NCLH. And now let me go look at them on the charts and see what it's looking like. All right. Oh, wrong one. NCLH. Now let's go to the daily. Okay, so I'm looking at the daily time frame. I'm like, okay, we might be actually breaking out. If we get above right here, 1974, Norwegian could come to about $21, and then it could come and fill this gap right here and come up to like $22, right? So I may say, okay, I like this setup, and then you could go look at it on a 15 or the 30, and then you could go see how you like it, right? So you can do this with anyone. OXY. Come over here to OXY. OXY. Occidental. Look at the charts. $42. Look at the daily. They fill the gap right here. They got another gap right here to the upside to fill, right? So you can say, okay, they got this gap to fill right here and right here. Boom. So they could be coming up to $47, $48. We're at 42 right now. If we break above $45, then boom, right? I'll swing this and come to the upside, right? So that's how you can do that. So that's how you can go to look at the list of S&P 500 companies. And then all you do is, so OXY, you go here, you go to OXY, and then you look at their spreads. So their spreads are pretty tight. So this would be a good stock to either day trade and or swing trade. You go out, right? Maybe like 2 months out. Look at the prices, still very cheap. Spreads are pretty tight still. So you can say, okay, I'm gonna trade this or I'm gonna swing trade this. And then you just do it that way, all right? So you wanna find the stocks, you wanna look at the spreads, and then you wanna start looking at what setup do you see and how can you actually trade this stock, all right? I like to keep it simple, but that's how you can find stocks to trade, and those are the things that you want to think about when you are trading those stocks, all right? I like to focus on the setups and technical analysis, right? When you're looking at setups, right? When you're looking at solid setups, the setups are going to make you the money because they're going to take care of themselves, all right? So I hope that made sense, and I hope that helps you guys today, all right? So like I always say, make sure you get up out of your head, go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live, all right? And also always remember, the more you study, the less you worry, all right? I'm gonna see you guys on the next video. Peace.